What? You found Flemeth's grimoire? But when I spoke of it to you, I did not truly hope... This is a most fortuitous event. You have my thanks. I will begin study of the tome immediately. Secrets. My mother has many of them, and this tome represents the one time that they were able to get away from her. I do not intend to squander this opportunity to learn more than Flemeth wished me to know. This should be... interesting.
You are not quite as callow as I thought. That is unexpected. You sound surprised. You must have heard this before. You'll get over it, eventually. I was sent to be the eyes of the Antam. The Arishok asked, "What is the Blight?" By his curiosity, I am now here. The one who commands the Antam, the body of the Qunari. Qunari have no kings. Little patience for endless questions. A portion of it. Yes. I cannot go home. It doesn't matter now. Can we move on? We keep the Darkspawn waiting. As you wish.
I've a question, if I may. Well, here's the thing. I swore an oath to serve you, yes? And I understand the quest you're on, and this is all very fine and well. My question pertains to what you intend to do with me once this business is over with, as a point of curiosity. Not precisely. I said I would serve you until you saw fit to release me. One simply assumes that once your Grey Warden business is finished, you would have no need of an assassin to follow you about. Am I wrong? Indeed. I might even be glad to call myself such, come to think of it. It is good to know what my options might be, but that is for another time. For now, we have much to do, yes?
Have I ever told you I really like the way you wear your hair? It's very nice, and it suits you. Simple. Not like the elaborate hairstyles we wore in Orlais. They involved flowers, ribbons, jewels. 1 year, feathers were all the rage, and Lady Elise decided she needed to outdo everyone else, and actually wore live songbirds in her voluminous hair. The chirping was quite charming for a while, but you must realize, terrified little birdies often have loose bowels. Yes, you can imagine what she looked like by the end of the evening. But I was trying to say something nice to you, wasn't I? Oh, forgive me. My mind wanders so. It's just that I feel so comfortable talking to you, like I could say anything and you wouldn't judge me. Yes, very much so. I haven't felt this close to anyone in a long time. I really enjoy your company. Thank you. I am honored that you feel that way.
Come to talk to old Oghren, have you? Don't know why. Nothing. I'm fine. Just, I got a hornet in my eye is all. Did you want to talk about something? What about? It's sodding great. At first I was a little queasy with all that air, but there's just so much of it. No one has any idea who you are or what you're doing. And the ale. Oh, who'd have thought? Ale made with grain. Aye, the surface is great. It's like a big, bright world of filth without a ceiling. My kind of place. Hey, let's go find something to kill, huh? All this talk makes my hands twitchy.
Oh, it's been a long day. Rest would be welcome. Yes, of course. I am just a little weary. As you may have noticed, I'm no spring chicken.
Thank you. You're very kind to say so. But in all honesty, I do not know how many years I have left in me. I have lived for such a long time, but there is always something else to do. And I have to keep going in order to do it. I think I will be glad when I am done. Oh, no. I'm not the sort of person that leaves things unfinished. I'll see this through, I promise.
Here, look at this. Do you know what this is? I picked it in Lothering. I remember thinking, how could something so beautiful exist in a place with so much despair and ugliness? I probably should have left it alone, but I couldn't. The Darkspawn would come and their taint would just destroy it. So I've had it ever since. I thought that I might give it to you, actually. In a lot of ways, I think the same thing when I look at you. I'm glad you like it. I was just thinking, here I am doing all this complaining, and you haven't exactly been having a good time of it yourself. You've had none of the good experience of being a Grey Warden since your joining. Not a word of thanks or congratulations. It's all been death and fighting and tragedy. I thought maybe I could say something. Tell you what a rare and wonderful thing you are to find amidst all this darkness. I'm glad you like it. Now, if we could move right on past this awkward, embarrassing stage and get right to the steamy bits, I'd appreciate it. Bluff called. Damn, she saw right through me. I'll be standing over here until the blushing stops, just to be safe. You know how it is.
I await your command. So, full of questions, are you? Well, that depends, does it not? What does she seem to be? Sometimes I do wonder the very same thing. Tell me, how much do you know of the tale? The one that the Chastened still tell of my mother, to frighten them into obedience. Ah, I see. That does explain much. I can relay what Flemeth once told me herself, and you can decide whether or not 'tis the truth, if you desire. As the tale is sung by the bards, there was a time when Flemeth was young and beautiful, a fair lass in a land of barbarian men, the desire of any who saw her. Many centuries before this land was even named Ferelden, the tales say that Flemeth fell in love with Osen the Bard and fled the castle of her husband, the Dreadlord Conobar, and that he swore vengeance for her infidelity. In truth, my mother claims that 'twas Osen who was her husband, and Conobar the jealous lord who looked on from afar. Lord Conobar approached young Osen and offered him wealth and power in exchange for his lovely wife, and Osen agreed. The life of a bard is a poor one, and love fades in the wake of hunger. 'Twas Flemeth who suggested the arrangement. All would have been well had Lord Conobar kept his end of the bargain. But he was a foul man who bargained with coin he did not possess. Osen was led off to a field and slain, left for dead. Flemeth spoke to the spirits and learned of the deed, and swore revenge. That was not the point. Conobar had no honor, so she would not have him. Flemeth begged the spirits to aid her, and 'twas they who slew Conobar. The demon the legend tells of came later. Lord Conobar's allies chased Flemeth, you see. Chased her to the wilds, and there she hid. There she found the demon, and he made her strong. The legends all speak of the great hero Cormac, he who defeated Flemeth and her great army when she invaded the lowlands centuries later. All lies. The truth of the matter is that there was never an invasion. As Flemeth tells it, the Chastened never raised an army under her banner, and she never fought with any warrior named Cormac. Cormac led a brutal civil war against his own people, and later claimed it was to vanquish evil that had taken root amongst the lords. Thus, he was hailed a hero. Flemeth was only attached to the legend much later. Perhaps 'twas due to the great war with the Chastened that eventually came, but Mother claims not to know how it began. I do not believe everything that Flemeth claims. Oft it seems her bitterness has colored her memories. But on the whole, yes, I believe this tale, if not all. The demon within her has transformed her into something else. An abomination, perhaps some would say. I know not. I only know my mother is clever, and she is part of the wilds as it is part of her. But she is no immortal. She bleeds. A blade in her heart would kill her like any other, were it lucky enough to find her. You ask if I have sisters. I have asked of this myself. The stories tell of many witches of the wilds after all, not just the one. And these tales existed long before I did. Flemeth refuses to speak of other daughters, if they existed. So, should I believe I am her first? I doubt that too. The Chastened tell of a falling out between Flemeth and her daughters. They say that one day she hunted them all through the wilds and ate their hearts. It may be true. I have never seen another witch or heard of one. Perhaps one day Flemeth will eat my heart as well. Flemeth tells it with far more embellishment than I, but you are welcome. Dare I ask of your own mother? Few are abominations of legend, 'tis true, but I find myself curious nevertheless. Ah, then you have my sympathies for what it is worth. Which is very little, I am certain. It matters not. Let us move on.
Yes.
Indeed.
Indeed.
Concentrate, like we practiced. Now, fire!
It is begun. As you say.
Look, can we talk for a moment? I need to tell you something. I, should probably have told you earlier. Well, let's see. How do I tell you this? We're almost at Redcliffe. Did I say how I know Arl Eamon, exactly? I'm a bastard. My mother was a serving girl at Redcliffe Castle, and she died when I was born. Arl Eamon took me in and raised me before I was sent to the Chantry. The reason he did that was because, well, because my father was King Marek, which made Cailan my half-brother, I suppose. How? When would I say that? Oh, by the way, King Marek had sex with a servant and she produced a bastard son. That's me. I would have told you, but it never really meant anything to me. I was inconvenient, a possible threat to Cailan's rule, and so they kept me secret. I'd never talked about it to anyone. Everyone who knew either resented me for it or they coddled me. Even Duncan kept me out of the fighting because of it. I didn't want you to know as long as possible. I'm sorry. Oh, good. I'm glad. It's not like I got special treatment for it anyhow. Arl Eamon eventually married a young woman from Orlais, despite all the problems he caused with the king so soon after the war. He loved her a great deal. Anyway, the new Arlessa resented the rumors which pegged me as the Arl's bastard. They weren't true, but of course they existed. The Arl didn't care, but she did. So off I was packed to the nearest monastery at age 10. Just as well. The Arlessa made sure the castle wasn't a home to me by that point. She despised me. She may have, but I think it's more likely that she feared the rumors might be true. I can't blame her for that. I remember I had an amulet with Andraste's holy symbol on it. The only thing I had of my mother's. I was so furious at being sent away, I tore it off and threw it at the wall. And it shattered. Stupid, stupid thing to do. The Arl came by the monastery a few times to see how I was, but I was stubborn. I hated it there and blamed him for everything. And eventually, he just stopped coming. Let's hope not. I'm the son of a commoner and a Grey Warden to boot. It was made very clear to me early on that there was no room for me raising any rebellions or such nonsense. And that's fine by me. No, if there's an heir to be found, it's Arl Eamon himself. He's not of royal blood, but he is Cailan's uncle, and more importantly, very popular with the people. Though, if he's really as sick as we've heard... Oh no, I don't want to think about that. I really don't. So there you have it. Now can we move on? And I'll just pretend you still think I'm some nobody who was too lucky to die with the rest of the Grey Wardens. Oh, lovely. I'm going to regret this. Somehow I just know it.
I thought I saw travelers coming down the road, though I scarcely believed it. Have you come to help us? The Arl? Then you don't know? Has nobody out there heard? He could be dead for all we know. Nobody's heard from the castle in days. We're under attack. Monsters come out of the castle every night and attack us until dawn. Everyone's been fighting and dying.
Apparently everyone seems to agree that a blight is the perfect time to start killing each other. Marvelous, really.
We've no army to defend us. No Arl and no king to send us help. So many are dead. And those left are terrified they're next.
Hold on, what is this evil that's attacking you?
I don't rightly know. I'm sorry, nobody does. I should take you to Ban Tegan. He's all that's holding us together. He'll want to see you.
Ban Tegan, Arlemon's brother. He's here.
Yes. It's not far, if you'll come with me.
It's Thomas, yes? And who are these people with you? They are obviously not simple travelers.
No, my lord. They just arrived, and I thought you would want to see them.
Well done, Thomas. Greetings, friends. My name is Tegan, Ban of Reynisfere, brother to the Arl.
I remember you, Ban Tegan. Though the last time we met, I was a lot younger and covered in mud.
Covered in mud? Alistair? It is you, isn't it? You're alive! This is wonderful news.
Still alive, yes. Though not for long if Teyrn Loghain has anything to say about it.
Indeed. Loghain would have us believe all Grey Wardens died along with my nephew, amongst other things. What, that he pulled his men in order to save them? That Cailan risked everything in the name of glory? Hardly. Loghain calls the Grey Wardens traitors, murderers of the king. I don't believe it. It is an act of a desperate man. So, you are a Grey Warden as well? Is it possible we've met? You seem very familiar. Ah, yes, that's it, exactly. A pleasure to meet you indeed, though I wish it were under better circumstances. You're here to see my brother? Unfortunately, that might be a problem. Eamon is gravely ill. No one has heard from the castle in days. No guards patrol the walls, and no one has responded to my shouts. The attack started a few nights ago. Evil things surged from the castle. We drove them back, but many perished during the assault.
How pointless to help these villagers fight an impossible battle. One would think we had enough to contend with elsewhere.
Thank you. Thank you. This means more to me than you can guess. Thomas, please tell Murdoch what transpired. Then return to your post.
Yes, my lord.
Now then, there is much to do before night falls. I put 2 men in charge of the defense outside. Murdoch, the village mayor, is outside the chantry. Sir Perth, one of Eamon's knights, is just up the cliff at the windmill, watching the castle. You may discuss with them the preparations for the coming battle. Of course. I have those few who returned from their quest. You know of this, yes? Yes, I question Isolde's decision to send so many knights in search of this relic. But I am a practical man, whereas she is a woman of great faith. Sir Perth was one of the knights sent on this quest. Perhaps you should speak to him if you wish to learn more. I do not know. They seem to be walking corpses, men with rotting flesh that continue to attack even with the gravest injuries.
Undead? Spirits possessing the dead. There could be several causes behind such a thing, none of them pleasant.
Hopefully we can find the source and stop it before it causes any more damage. With luck, we'll also find Eamon and be able to help him. Are you suggesting what's happened here is related to Cailan's death and the Civil War, even Eamon's illness? I really haven't given it a lot of thought, to be honest. It's been a struggle just to survive. But it could be involved with the throne, yes. Our sister was Cailan's mother. I suppose we've royal blood, but it's a shaky claim to the throne, though still better than Loghain's. And it does mean Eamon could intervene in Loghain's bid for the throne, but let's not leap to conclusions. I would not like to think that anyone would wish this on my brother. He is a good man, and much loved by the people of Redcliffe. And I can't imagine how terrible it must be for Arlessa Isolde, and especially Connor. I would not want him to lose his father at such a young age. Sir Perth insists. He wants me to be with the villagers, so everyone he needs to protect is in one place. I don't mind, to be honest. The point of all this is to protect the villagers, and I can do that best here. This is the last line of defense, should things go amiss. We could bring some men in to stand beside me, but I'd rather keep the monsters away from the villagers if possible. Very well. Luck be with you, my friend.
Let us pray. Blessed art thou who exists in the Maker's sight. Blessed art thou who seeks his forgiveness. Blessed art thou who seeks his return. Blessed is the prophet. It is begun.
I'm scared, Mother. When are the bad men coming?
Soon, darling. Don't worry. Everything will be all right.
I want to go home. Where's Father?
Good day.
Why can't we go home?
I'm so scared. Sorry. Am I bothering you? What are we going to do? I'll try to be more quiet. Those things dragged my mother away. I don't know what happened to her, but I hear her screaming all the time. Everywhere.
How terrible. You poor thing. I wish there was something we could do to help.
And now my brother Bevan, he ran off. I don't know where he is. I'm so scared they got him too. I went to our house. It's by the square. He wasn't there. I searched the rest of the village too. I called and I called, but he never answered. I wonder if he ran off into the woods. I'm so worried. Without me, he has nobody. You will. Thank you so much. Please find him.
Silence, girl. You want the children to hear you?
But night is coming.
We don't have the
Still
men.
no sign of them coming back from the castle, Murdoch.
Tell them to maintain watch. I don't want a surprise attack before the sun goes down.
Yes, sir. What should we do until then?
Pray, and hope for a miracle. So you're the Grey Warden, are you? I didn't think they made women Grey Wardens. We need what little armor and weapons we got repaired, and quickly, or half of us will be fighting without either. Owen's the only blacksmith who can do it, but the stubborn fool refuses to even talk. If we're to be ready for tonight, we'll need that crotchety bastard's help. His daughter, Valena, is one of the Alessa's maids, so he hasn't heard from her since this whole business started. He demanded we attack the castle, break down the gate, and force our way in. I said it was impossible, but he wouldn't listen. He's locked himself in the smithy now. I can't force him to do repairs. He said he'd rather die first. Not by nightfall, and not well enough that I'd be happy to test it in combat. If there were others, don't you think I'd ask them? I'd appreciate it. If he doesn't help, he'll die like the rest of us. What good will that do anyone then?
Go away. Curse you! Leave me in peace! You've already taken everything out of my stores. There's nothing left. Hey? You're not Murdoch. Who are you, and what are you doing at my door? All right. Let me undo the locks. All I ask is that you don't make any trouble.
Maker's breath. What is that smell? It's like someone set a brewery on fire.
Somebody's been drinking.
So I let you in. You wanted to talk. Now we're talking. Mind telling me who you are? A Grey Warden, is it? It takes all kinds. Anyhow, my name's Owen, though you might already know that. Care to join me as I get besotted? Or is there something in particular you wanted? My girl, Valena, is one of the Alessa's maids, and she's trapped up there in the castle, but the mayor won't send anyone for her. She's been my life since my wife passed on 2 years ago. Now she's dead, or soon to be. I don't care what happens to me or the village, or anyone! Why not? It's not like we're going to live
pass the night anyhow? Or are you going to save us?
Is that so? Maybe it's the drink talking, but you almost sound like you believe that.
It'd do me the world of good to think maybe someone like you could go in and find her. Provided any of us live through the night.
Not good enough. Murdoch said the same damn thing, and I didn't believe him either.
You were asking a great deal, you wretched little man.
I want a promise. Promise me that you'll look for her. That you'll bring her back to me if you can. I'll accept that. It's something to hope for, at least.
Oh, lovely. Shall we next begin rescuing kittens from trees?
And I suppose there's no point in me sitting around, is there? Time to relight the forge and get the smithy going, eh? Murdoch will be pleased. If you need anything done, well, just let me know. I've got a lot to do now, so you'll have to excuse me.
Do you have any tales of the wild?
None of the sort you like. No princesses in tall towers or knights throwing themselves at whole armies.
That's not all I like.
Do you want tales of the chastened wilders who dwell in the marsh? Do you want to hear of the slow deaths they inflict on their enemies? Perhaps a tale of the poisonous creatures of the wilds that lay their eggs on your skin so their young may eat you alive when hatched? Or a tale of my mother's marsh cuisine? That, in my opinion, is the most terrifying of all my tales.
No, I don't want to hear about those things.
Then I have no tales for you.
Greetings, Grey Warden. I am as relieved as Ban Tegan is to see you here. I must admit I do not know quite how to address you. Is my lady sufficient? Very well then, my lady. I am humbly at your service. I am Sir Perth, until recently in direct service of Arl Eamon of Redcliffe. For now my charge is defending the village from these evil assaults. Would that I had chosen not to seek out the Urn of Sacred Ashes. Perhaps I would have fended off whatever evil befell the castle, or perhaps I would be dead. Ah well, with the Grey Warden aiding our defense, perhaps all is not lost. When the Isle fell sick, we were at a loss. Nothing worked to cure him, and he just kept getting worse. Finally, our lesser Isolde came up with a plan. The Urn of Sacred Ashes is a legendary artifact said to hold great healing powers. If found, it might save him.
They say the followers of Andraste smuggled her ashes out of Tevinter and hid them in Ferelden. The urn's never been heard of since.
We knights volunteered to seek it out. Few of us have returned. Many are still out there, unaware of what is happening here. The Jarl once employed a scholar, Brother Genetivi. He had proof the urn was in Ferelden, or so I was told. Eventually, perhaps. The ones I have here were those near enough to recall within the last few days. I only returned myself because I was passing by Redcliffe and heard the news of strange attacks. We were never certain. He thirsted for water and then grew weaker and weaker. He brought in a mage, but even that did nothing. The Arlessa believed he was cursed and that we needed the power of Andraste herself, or he would surely perish. Not at all. A great number of soldiers remained in Castle Redcliffe. I wonder if they perished there, and were transformed into these things. The thought chills my blood. As you wish, my lady. Maker watch over you. What is it you need? We have sufficient armor and weapons, but my knights are too few to stand against the monsters without assistance. Perhaps you could approach Mother Hannah in the Chantry for some holy protection against these evil creatures. Otherwise, I do not know what else you could provide beyond your own talents. We're as prepared for the onslaught as we could possibly be, all things considered. No, nothing comes to mind. If you have not spoken to the Mayor, Murdoch, you should. His militia is far more in need of aid than we are. As you wish, my lady. Maker watch over you.
Very well.
Hello there, friend. Can't say we've ever met before. Stranger to the village, I take it. Haven't had many travelers lately. All this nonsense is bad for business. Bet you regret coming, yes? Oh, you know, evil creatures, impending doom, civil war, and the Earl's dead in the castle. Makes you thirsty, don't it? So, what'll it be? You are here to drink, I hope. Name's Lloyd. So, why'd you come to the village now? The roads can't be all that safe, not with a war brewing. Well, that explains it. Except for the lack of darkspawn around here. But never mind me. Something else I can get for you? Fine. Make them quick. Why? When them creatures attack, I lock myself in the cellar. Just batten the hatches and wait it out. What's the point in getting myself killed with all the rest of them? If that makes me a coward, then I'm a coward. But Van Tegan said we didn't have to. He said... Fine, I'll go. But all of this better be here when I get back. I don't want the place drunk out from under me. Blasted bloody...
Not looking for company. Why? I don't live here. Elves aren't allowed to travel? I'm not here to talk.
There's something about this man's demeanor. I don't know.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
But you do, don't you? I know spy when I see one.
Look, you're very pretty and all, but I was told to... just leave me alone. About what? Just because you're a Grey Warden doesn't mean you can go around threatening people. But I never... Oh, all right, I'll tell you. Just don't hurt me. This is more than I bargained for. Look, they just paid me to watch the castle and send word if anything should change. But they never said anything about monsters. I haven't even been able to report anything since this started. I'm stuck, same as you, I swear. Here, this is a letter from them. It has instructions and everything. Keep it, do whatever you want with it. I just thought I was serving the king and making a bit of coin on the side. You have to believe me. Oh, all right, I'll do it. Thank you for your mercy. I won't forget it.
Go away. This isn't your home. This is my home. My home, you hear me? How do you know my name? Did she tell you to take me back to the Chantry? Don't make me go back there. I hate that place. I hate it. Everybody's scared. But they tell me I shouldn't be scared. And they tell me I shouldn't be sad that Mother died. I don't want to be sad. I'm brave. I'm going to be a hero. I'm going to fight them off. I will. No. I just heard you coming, and I guess that's not very brave of me, is it? I'll come out now. All right. I came out. You won't hurt me. Will you? I'll go back to the Chantry if you really want. I can't tell you. It's a secret. You could. All right, I guess. Father said I could have his sword when I grew up. It was Grandfather's. And Grandfather was a great dragon slayer. I thought, if I was brave like Grandfather, I could use his sword and kill the bad people who took Mother. In the chest, in Mother's room, Father gave me a key, but I'm not supposed to give it to anyone. I guess you're right. I should help defend the village, shouldn't I? Father would have if he were here. Oh, all right. Here's the key. I hope you use it to kill a lot of those bad people. I should go back to the Chantry. Good luck.
It shall be done. As you say, I shall do it. It is begun.
Wonderful. Intruders. I hope you have a good reason for breaking and entering into my home. Apology accepted. The name's Dwyn. Pleased to meet you. Now get out. Surviving. We have supplies to last for quite some time. And my boys and I can swing a weapon better than any of those fools out there. You look more than competent. With you out there, they don't really need me, do they? So, that's what it comes down to, huh? Fine. I'll go. If you want me out there so badly. Spoken like someone who doesn't know me very well. Go tell Murdoch he won. And I better see you out there in the square when those creatures come. Stop fidgeting.
I don't like being out here, Gwyn.
You are a stranger amongst us, yet you still agree to defend our village in its darkest hour. We are most grateful to you. I will be grateful of your attempt, even if it fails. We can ask no more. Allow me to introduce myself. I am revered Mother Hannah, head of this chantry, which for the moment is a place of refuge for these poor villagers.
How awful this must be for you all. Is this everyone who's left?
All those who cannot defend themselves, yes. They are terrified of tonight's attack, and I fear these walls will not keep them safe. What can I do to help with your task? I have done all I can for them. I pray for them each night and seek the Maker's forgiveness for their sins before they face their deaths. What Sir Perth seeks is something that is not in my power to give. I can pray with them and give them my blessing, but Sir Perth wants me to call upon the Maker to shield them from evil.
Well, can't you just tell him the Maker will watch over him? Morale is a powerful thing, you know.
You mean you want me to let them think the Maker protects them in a real sense? I will not lie to them like that. I suppose if they believed in the Maker's power, that belief would inspire them somewhat. It just seems like trickery. Very well. If it keeps them alive, I will do what I must. I have a number of silver-cast holy symbols. Tell Sir Perth that he can have them, and that wearing them will confer the Maker's protection. Now please, let me tend to these poor folk. I must do what I can, and I suggest you do the same.
Bevan said you were the one who found him. I can't possibly repay you. Bevan told me about Grandfather's sword. So you have it then? I suppose it won't go to waste, at least. Use it well. If we survive, I'll gladly take it back. Thank you again for Bevan. With my mother gone, well, I'm just glad he's safe. I can't thank you enough. The Maker sent you. I just know it. Thank you again.
The Knights of Redcliffe are ready to fight at your disposal. No one told me of this. Oil, you say? How much exactly? Assuming that would hurt them. Yes, I see what you have in mind. That might be effective, if used carefully. Yes, excellent idea. I'll send some men to collect the oil. We'll use it to slow these creatures down. Have you anything else to ask me in the meantime? Have you spoken to the revered mother? Has she offered anything?
Must we do this? The faith that will protect these men must come from their heart, surely.
If they are the same as the symbols worn by their priests, well, that would more than suffice. Of course I do. These are Maker's symbols. What better protection could we ask for? I will send some men to collect the amulets. Please give my regards to Mother Hannah for seeing some sense at last. No, nothing comes to mind. If you have not spoken to the Mayor, Murdoch, you should. His militia is far more in need of aid than we are. As you wish, my lady. Maker watch over you.
No word from the castle?
Well, it looks like Owen's finally doing the repairs we need. The damn fool is falling over a drunk and still manages to make smithying look easy. Good enough, I say. I'll inform Bantigan the militia is ready to fight. We'll give those bastards a welcome they won't soon forget. I hope you're right. We may just be village folk, but we're going to fight like there's no tomorrow. Are you sure? There's still time left if you need to talk with Sir Perth or do anything else. Then good luck to you. You'll need it.
arrives, and we survive the night. We are victorious. And though this victory came at great cost, we must remember none of us would be here were it not for the heroism of these good folk beside me. I thank you, dear lady. Truly the Maker smiled on us when he sent you here in our darkest hour.
Let us bow our heads and give honor to those who gave their lives in defense of Redcliffe. Now they walk with he who is their Maker. Long may they know the peace of his love.
With the Maker's favor, the blow we delivered today is enough for me to enter the castle and seek out your Arl. Be wary and watch for signs of renewed attack. We shall return with news as soon as we are able. Now, we've no time to waste. Meet me at the mill. We can talk further there.
You saved us. I can't believe we're alive. And it's finally over. That's what everyone is saying. We might have to evacuate the village if those Darkspawn come closer. It just seems so horrible. With Mother and Father both gone, I suppose they'll send us to an orphanage, maybe separated. At least we're both alive. I won't forget what you did, though. Neither of us will. Thank you. I can't take it back. If you need it, keep it. Grandfather would want it in the hands of a hero. I have no idea what it's worth, to be honest. And you found Bevan. I couldn't ask you for money.
Oh, how generous we are today, it appears.
That's incredibly kind of you. This is more than I ever dreamed of. With this, I can hire a wagon to take us to Denerim. We have family there, and they'll take us in for sure now. Come on, Bevan, let's find one now. Make her watch over you. I'll never forget you.
These are terrible times. Just terrible. Good day.
There are many gone who we must honor. But we must also remember those who aided us in our darkest hour.
Oh, sort of like coming home again, but with more undead.
Odd how quiet the castle looks from here. You would think there was nobody inside at all. But I shouldn't delay things further. I had a plan. To enter the castle after the village was secure. There is a secret passage here, in the mill, accessible only to my family. I knew you would choose to enter the castle instead of staying in the village. And we needed warriors. I'm sorry if I... Maker's breath.
Tigan. Thank the Maker, you yet live.
Isolde. You're alive. How did you... What has happened?
I do not have much time to explain. I slipped away from the castle as soon as I saw the battle was over, and I must return quickly. And I need you to return with me, Tigan. Alone. What? Who is this woman, Tigan?
You remember me, Lady Isolde, don't you?
Alistair. Of all the... Why are you here?
They are Grey Wardens, Isolde. I owe them my life.
Pardon me, I would exchange pleasantries, but... considering the circumstances...
Please, Lady Isolde, we had no idea anyone was even alive within the castle. We must have some answers.
I know you need more of an explanation, but I don't know what is safe to tell. Teagan, there is a terrible evil within the castle. The dead waken and haunt the living. The maid responsible was caught, but still it continues. And I think Connor is going mad. We have survived, but he won't flee the castle. He has seen so much death. You must help him, Teagan. You are his uncle. You could reason with him. I do not know what else to do. He is being kept alive so far, thank the Maker.
Kept alive? Kept alive by what?
Something the mage unleashed. So far it allows Eamon, Connor, and myself to live. The others were not so fortunate. It killed so many, and turned their bodies into walking nightmares. Once it was done with the castle, it struck the village. It wants us to live, but I do not know why. It allowed me to come for you, Teagan, because I begged, because I said Connor needed help. I do not know. Oh, Maker's mercy. Could it truly be a demon? I can't let it hurt my Connor. You must come back with me, Teagan. Please. He is an infiltrator, I think. One of the castle staff. We discovered he was poisoning my husband. That is why Eamon fell ill.
Eamon was poisoned?
He claims an agent of Teyrn Logains hired him. He may be lying, however. I cannot say. I beg your pardon? That's a rather impertinent accusation. An evil I cannot fathom holds my son and the husband hostage. I came for help. What more do you want from me? Teagan, I do not have much time. What if it thinks I'm betraying it? It could kill Connor. Please come back with me. Must I beg? For Connor's sake, I promised I would return quickly and only with Teagan. Teagan, I know you could order your men to follow me when I return to the castle. I beg you not to. For Connor's sake.
The king is dead, and we need my brother now more than ever. I will return to the castle with you, Isolde.
Thank the Maker. Bless you, Teagan. Bless you.
I have no illusions of dealing with this evil alone. You, on the other hand, have proven quite formidable. Isolde, can you excuse us for a moment? We must confer in private before I return to the castle with you.
Please do not take too long. I will be by the bridge.
Here's what I propose. I go in with Isolde, and you enter the castle using the secret passage. My signet ring unlocks the door. Perhaps I will distract whatever evil is inside and increase your chances of getting in unnoticed. What do you say? I wish I knew. I don't know any more about this evil force than Isolde seems to. Sir Perth and his men can watch for danger at the castle entrance. If you can open the gates from within, they can move in and help you. I don't think there's anyone else who can help you. If you choose not to go, then it's up to me to do what I can. Here is my signet ring. It will open the lock on the door in the mill. Whatever you do, Eamon is the priority here. If you have to, just get him out of there. Isolde, me, and anyone else, we are expendable. You're a good woman. The Maker smiled on me indeed when he sent you to Redcliffe.
So we are just going to send him with that woman? It seems so dangerous.
But I can delay no longer. Allow me to bid you farewell. And good luck.